What's up, my dudes? My name is Sister Turley, and this is my new custom track called Bizarre MX, and it's pretty bizarre, bro. This is probably one of the weirdest, craziest tracks I've ever made before. So what it is it's pretty much 4 different biomes kind of mixed into one track, and yeah, I've had this idea for a while now, but I've just now actually put it into action. And the cool thing about it is not only is it 4 different biomes, but each one of the biomes has their interesting, unique kind of track on it. So for instance, there's a really swampy kind of biome, and it feels pretty slick, and it's got some nice ruts in it and stuff like that. But there's also a desert biome that's more hard pack and got some really humongous tabletops on it and stuff. So you know, not only is it the looks, but it's what you would expect it to be on track as well. So it's really interesting. I've never quite rode on a track like this before on MX Simulator. It's cool because you can't just get so used to the way the dirt feels, because it's constantly changing. So it's a cool kind of vibe like that I've never really felt before. So it's definitely a little bit more of a tricky track, so you might get a little frustrated here and there on some sections, but it's fun, man. I mean, there's some pretty big jumps that are on the borderline of being unrealistic, but I still feel like everything's somewhat in that realistic range. So but yeah, man, I think it just all came together pretty well, and a pretty fun track. Definitely recommend being on the 450s. There's quite a few jumps on this track that you basically have to be balls to the wall or nothing, because they're that big. I mean, even though they're tabletops, there's a certain level to where you can still die on it, you know, even if it is a tabletop. Like, you can jump it probably halfway on a lot of those bigger jumps and still be okay. Like, you can land on top of the tabletop, but once you start getting that jumping it like 3/4 of the way and stuff like that, it starts getting pretty dangerous, dude. So even though it's a tabletop, you know, you're jumping so high and so far that even if you land on the flat, it's really not going to save you most of the time. So definitely recommend being on that 450, but I mean, you could probably still ride on this track with a 250. I know you could still hit those bigger jumps if you change your gearing, but I just wanted to make something that was a little more bizarre and a little crazy, hence the name. So that's what I wanted to do. So it's got everything from small jumps to medium-sized jumps to humongous jumps. So you know, it's just a little bit of everything, but it's pretty crazy. So this swamp section right here is pretty cool because it's kind of like a soupy cross track, literally. So it's soupy, and it's kind of designed like a supercross track. I don't know how the heck that happened, but it turned out pretty cool. So it's kind of weird because it's like you got sand rollers, okay, and then you kind of got like a supercross track, okay, and then you kind of got like more of a humongous tabletop motocross feeling kind of track all in one, plus all the different biomes at the same time and all the different dirt fillings and stuff like that. It's quite the crazy track, man. So I put some rocks on the edge of the track right there, and I accidentally hit them, but there's definitely some areas where you can't take the inside, like you can't cut the inside, because I've put objects and stuff there, whether it be just raising the dirt or I've, you know, put rocks on the inside and stuff. So everything kind of keeps you on the track pretty good. So it's a fun track, no doubt. Some of these bigger jumps may take you a minute to get used to, but so I'm going to be releasing this track. It might not be the same day that I, you know, release this video, because I still have to do a lot of stuff, making sure the objects and all that crap's in there. So if you watch this video and you don't see the track link, come back in like a day and then watch the video again. And well, don't watch the video again, but the track link will be in the description. You can always watch the video again, you know what I'm saying? But I usually do that because I like to release the track as soon as I possibly can. And but there's a lot more behind the scenes kind of work you have to do to make sure, you know, all your objects are in there right, and make sure all the timing gates are right, and all that little stuff I like to do after I've already you know, made the video on it and everything. So I just wanted to warn you guys, if you hop on this video and you're like, where the heck's the link, just come back and it should be in the description in like a day or so. So if it's not already down there, you know, I may have time to release it by the time I release this video. I'm not really sure. It just kind of all depends, but I didn't want you guys to freak out and think there was no link to the track ever. So I will be making a link for it. Just give me a little while. So but yeah, man, just crazy, different, out there kind of track, and I'm so happy I've just put the time in to get it done, because I really wanted to make a track like this. And the cool thing about it is I can always make a a bizarre MX2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you know, and have all different crazy kind of biomes. It's not limited to just this is the only bizarre MX that I ever make. I think it would be really cool to kind of have series of tracks. You know, I've got the desert biome, the snow biome, the swamp biome, and then the Hawaii biome, but I could come up with some crazy other different kind of biomes for a completely different kind of track, like you know, bizarre MX2 or something crazy like that. So anyways, so let me just play this back in some third person, kind of give you guys that different viewpoint from it. So just a fun, tricky track though at the same time. Like, it's can definitely throw you off guard on some of these bigger jumps. It's just tricky because on the desert portion, you basically have to be going wide open to even clear the jumps. So, but when you get on more of the swampy kind of portion, you've got to really take your time and go slower so that you don't slide over, and you can kind of pick your time, you know, in the ruts and stuff like that. But that's the thing, like, it's tricky because you got to go really fast here, and then you got to go kind of slower here, and then you got to, you know, you're in sand, and then you're in snow, and then you're in, you know, there's so many different aspects to this track that makes it so different from every other track out there. Just being able to run laps on it is quite tricky because you really got to learn, okay, you got to tell your brain, like, all right, this is going to be a little slicker, or this is going to feel more like sand, or, you know, whatever the case may be. So it's really interesting like that, man. It's just almost similar to a trail track, but not really. I mean, it's a whole lot crazier than that, really, because you're getting so many crazy different ends of the spectrum when it comes to different kinds of biomes and different, just the way the dirt feels is so different on all these different biomes and stuff. So that's a really fun jump right there. You can huck it all the way over that deal on a 450, but if you don't quite get the momentum out of the corner before, then you can just jump on top of the table and then kind of jump off of that. So it's pretty cool. But all these jumps, I mean, nothing's super dangerous unless you go for it and you don't make it or you over jump it, if that makes any sense. Like, you can half jump a lot of this stuff and you'll be just fine. And I mean, most of it, it's built to be somewhat safe, but I'm telling you, just the sheer size of some of these jumps on this desert portion is pretty gnarly, so just be careful on that. But anyways, I got my nice little sand section here. It's a fun wall. It just somehow, some tracks just all work out and they turn out really cool. Sometimes they don't, sometimes they do, and I can't really tell you what it is, but this is one of those tracks that turned out pretty good as far as just how the on track feels. Like, everything just flows really good, and every time you go to a new biome, it naturally flows into it. It's not like oh, well, that's weird how it just goes into this other biome. Like, everything just seems to flow and meld together really well. So anyways, so be looking out for that track link. It might be today, might be tomorrow, might be, you know, might even be 2 days from now. I'm not really sure. It just depends on when I can get to actually completing all of the little stuff that has to be done with every track. They're not as simple as just building them and then hurrah, there you go. There's a lot more coding to it, making sure the objects and the everything, like how the dirt feels, and just making sure all that stuff is there, right? Like the roost files, and there's a lot more to it. But anyways, I will have the link out soon, so I appreciate all you watching these videos, and I'll keep on making them.